When Sherry and I were out of town during the evacuation, I saw a quote in another town by a great philosopher named Winnie the Pooh that I said, boy, that will be a helpful quote for us to remember on All Saints Sunday. This is what Winnie the Pooh said. If there ever comes a day when we can't be together, keep me in your heart. I'll stay there forever. And so let us remember that as we give thanks for these saints, many of whom helped us feel and experience God's presence and love. We remember and give thanks for these members of Asbury Memorial. Catherine Argyros. Born in Astoria, Queens, New York in 1948, Catherine strived to live her life helping those in need. A social justice advocate, Catherine was especially concerned about environmental issues and founded the Green Pages environmental newspaper in the early 1990s. She also produced and hosted an informational daytime talk show and established the Displaced Homemakers Network. Catherine was not afraid to ask questions or to think outside the box, which helped her grow intellectually and spiritually. She has 2 daughters, Alexis and Nicole, and 5 grandchildren who she loved to brag about. Catherine Argyros. Gay Gwinner. Gay was born in Macon, Georgia in 1937. A bright, positive, and intelligent person, Gay was chosen to participate in Jimmy Carter's presidential management intern program. She was then recruited by the United States Corps of Engineers in Savannah, where she worked for many years before retiring. Gay and her husband Maurice were one of the first new couples to join Asbury when the church was struggling in the early 90s. They greatly supported the church financially, spiritually, and through their service. They were social justice oriented and were especially supportive of interfaith efforts. During their later years, Gay and Maurice moved to Macon, but continued to be supportive of Asbury and its ministries, even from a long distance. Gay Gwinner. Philip Hunter. Born in Waycross, Georgia in 1930, Phil's family moved to Savannah, where he attended Savannah High School and Armstrong Junior College. He served in the United States Army during the Korean conflict. He then became employed by Liggett & Myers and traveled the world as one of their top salesmen, eventually becoming vice president of government sales. Phil's wife and life partner Betty opened Ye Olde Tobacco Shop and Verderies in 1973, which still exists today. Phil is best remembered for his humor, his lively spirit, and stories, which often resonated his love for family, friends, dancing, and music. He loved people, which made him a great ambassador for Asbury, serving as an usher and as my #1 advisor. Phil and Betty were married for 62 years. They have 2 children, Kim and Phil Jr., and a handful of grandchildren. Philip Hunter. Pat Moore. Pat was born in Dallas, Texas in 1943. She married the love of her life, Phil Moore. She worked and managed the books for their family business, the Home Craftsman Company. After Phil's death in 1987, Pat became a real estate mortgage broker. She would eventually move to Savannah to live close to her daughter, Laura Angel, our youth minister, and her grandsons, Haig and Carlton. When Pat first arrived at Asbury, she was known as Laura's mother, but it didn't take long for her to become known as the dessert lady. If you wanted to find Pat, you knew to look first in the kitchen. She was a fabulous cook, and fortunately she became part of our hospitality team, where she supplied many a dish and dessert for us. and some of us especially loved her coconut cream pie. Pat also made many a dish for our youth group in their events. Pat Moore. M.B. McDaniel. M.B. was born in Maryville, California in 1954, but moved to Maine when she was young. She served in the United States Armed Forces. She also worked as on a factory assembly line, managed a department store, performed as a singer and dancer, and at her death was serving as a special needs caregiver. M.B. sweetened our choir with her true tenor voice and also sewed many a clown with the busy bees. Many of us knew M.B. as a strong and courageous person who was able to transgender from being male to female. Another social justice advocate, M.B. greatly cared for others, especially those who were in need and those who needed someone to speak up for them. She was a witty, vivacious soul, enamored with nature, animals, and flower-filled gardens. It is said that she could coax a lifeless stick to grow. M.B. had 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. M.B. McDaniel. Jewel Newstratton. Jewel was born in Savannah in 1927, along with her twin sister, Jean Stewart. The Fritz sisters have been longtime members of Asbury. Jewel met her husband, George, down at Tybee, and they had 3 daughters, Jan, Julie, and Jill, and 1 son, George III, who attended Asbury while growing up. Jewel was the epitome of a Southern lady and a gracious, caring mother, overseeing and doctoring 4 rambunctious children who loved the outdoors and who had 20 different types of animals as pets. In fact, Jewel's son George used to supply the snakes that we would all go see at the Savannah Science Museum. Jewel helped her children have the most wonderful and memorable childhood. She was hampered by illness in her later years and lived under the wonderful care of her daughter Julie. The family celebrates Jewel's recent reuniting with her husband George and all of her loved ones in eternity. Jewel Newstratton. Bob Osborne. Bob was born on July 4th, 1932 in Washington, D.C. Can you get any more American than that? He studied pharmacy at George Washington University and served the country as United States Public Health Service Commissioned Officer. After his service, he continued working in pharmaceuticals, becoming the Vice President and Director of Operations for 183 stores. Bob met his wife Val at a youth fellowship meeting at a church, and they married in 1954. They had 3 daughters, Jan, Charlotte, and Elaine, and they have a bevy of grandchildren. After retirement, Bob and Val moved to Savannah at the Landings. There, Bob pursued 3 of his passions: traveling, golf, and bridge. He also joined the Kiwanis Golden K of Skidaway, where he served as its 10th president. At Asbury, Bob will always be known as the usher. His hospitable presence in the sanctuary is legendary. His presence was so impactful that he would often be the topic at a new members class, with people saying that the tall, white-haired usher was so helpful and friendly to them. Bob often said that his main goal is to make everyone feel welcomed and included. Bob Osborne. And now we will read the names of family and friends of church members who have passed that we have on our records. And as Jan comes up to join me for this part, let me mention that I realized, both Bob and then Phil Hunter were always 2 of the first people in the sanctuary on Sunday mornings, ready to welcome and converse with people. And it dawned on me that this year we lost these 2 early risers who were always here ready to greet and help take care of people. So I encourage others of you to take up their mantle and follow in their footsteps. Get here early to greet and welcome and talk with people. Susan Anschbacher, sister of Reverend Lynn Drake.
Imam Majid Ali, leader in the community and friend to many Asburyans.
Ruth Andress, sister-in-law of Al Andress.
John Angel, brother-in-law of Anita Clay, uncle of Margaret Clay, and grandfather of Hay and Carlton Angel.
Laurie Bowser, mother of Darrell Bowser.
Yashu Bartaszewski, friend of the Hester family.
Charlotte Bickford, great-grandmother of Aidan Taylor.
Lucy Bingler, mother of Kelly Hall.
Russ Bogenhide, husband of Jan Bogenhide.
Zane Bollinger, father of Randy Bollinger, father-in-law of Susan Bollinger.
Billy Brown, friend of many Asburyans in the Asbury Memorial Theater.
Robert Brown, father of Suzanne Devlin.
Billy Bryant, mother of Betsy Hong.
Virginia Hodges Berger, aunt of Greg Martin.
Catherine Burkett, mother of Tim Burkett.
Lula Mae Burris, mother of Todd Malden.
Ellie True Bitterhorn, mother of Betsy True.
Catherine Chisholm, friend of many Asburyans.
Sammy Clark, Methodist minister and civil rights leader in Savannah and friend to many Asburyans.
Scott Colclasure, brother of Bernie Colclasure.
Catherine Bollinger Cornell, niece of Randy and Susan Bollinger.
Joan Jewett Crane, friend of many Asburyans.
Edna Ampara Drake, mother of Joe Drake.
Sue Eberhardt, sister of Ross Bolton.
Bill Urey, husband of Reverend Mike Piazza.
Sally Flanders, former member of Asbury.
Barbara Freeman, aunt of Jennifer Barrett Lindsay.
Courtney Courtney Gaines, friend of many Asburyans.
Blanche Dunham Grubb, friend of Greg Martin.
Curtis Hamrick, friend of Greg Martin, father of James Hamrick.
Phyllis Hardiman, friend to many Asburyans.
Lily Mae Haynes Tinsbroom Henderson, great aunt of Greg Martin.
Betty Herbst, mother of Alan Kindler and mother-in-law of Susan Carlson.
Mary Claire Hicks, aunt of Sharon Page.
Gary Jackson, former member of Asbury and friend to many Asburyans.
George Jones, friend of Kim Malfris and Kimberly Smith.
Danelle Jumper, cousin of Carol Anderson.
Coralie Kelly, friend of Barry Parker.
Doyle Kelly, friend of Andy Becker, Billy Hester, and many Asburyans.
Archie Kemp, brother-in-law of Jeanette Purvis.
Lila Kilpatrick, friend of Cynthia Linthicum.
Tim Lavin, former member of Asbury.
Edward Limehouse, father of Kelly Limehouse.
William Luther Long, uncle of Chuck Long.
Isabel Mahaney, mother of Larry Fall.
Carolyn Malfris, aunt of Kim Malfris.
Ken McInville, uncle of Beth Tyson.
Esther Mraz, mother of Jeff Mraz, and grandmother of Nico and Kiki.
Katie Misereau, niece of Jeff and Diane Misereau.
Wilma Mitchell, great-grandmother of Aidan Taylor.
John Mokray, friend of Ken Hardinger, Callie Downing, and Helen Downing.
Neil Monroe, husband of Pauline Monroe and father of Ross Monroe.
Betty Beeford Owens, friend of Claire Knight.
Margaret Page, mother of Dale Karakostas.
Charlie Perry, friend of Joan Bird and Betty Hunter.
Douglas Bubba Robbins, relative of Ranny Kennedy.
Lee Robinson, friend of Michael Edwards.
Ken Sanders, former organist of Asbury.
Danny Say, brother of Neil Say.
Geneva Say, mother of Neil Say.
Jackie Skowaldron, cousin of David Grice.
Lee Simmerly, friend of many Asburyans.
Beverly Semino, aunt of John Hester. Aunt of John Hester.
George Semino, uncle of John Hester.
Elaine Smith, relative of Cynthia Harold and Dee Dee Waddle.
William Billy Sprague, husband of Elizabeth Sprague.
Betty Stallings, friend to many Asburyans.
Clarence Stevenson, cousin of Carrie Collins.
Sheila Piper Stubbs, cousin of David Grice.
Dorothy Jane Vauden, great aunt of Chuck Long.
Albert Wagner, father of Steve Wagner, father-in-law of Janet Wagner.
Barbara Wayne, aunt of Bill Levitt.
Donald West, friend of L.A. Lanier and Billy Hester.
Henry Smokey White, husband of Sandra White, father of David White, father-in-law of Suzanne Cooler, grandfather of Henry White.
Gay Whitehead, friend of David Grice and John Naylor.
Rochelle Williams, aunt of Effie Mydell, sister-in-law of Sandra Mydell.
Hardy Williamson, friend of Chan and Sam Durham.